Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we're here to talk a few minutes about a few things. 101 critical days of summer, Wingman Day, and substance abuse, which is going to be the focus of our Wingman Day today. The whole focus for today is going to be on safety and resiliency and productivity and performance. All this is designed to make sure that we're all safe and they're productive and that we somehow make it through the 101 critical days of summer so that we can have the quality of life that we all need, not only for producing for our state and for our nation, but also for ourselves and our family. So our safety folks have set up this Wingman Day, which will talk about exactly what it takes to become a wingman and exactly what we mean by the 101 critical days of summer, what the threats are, what the risks are, and how we can mitigate those risks. And then we'll talk specifically about some substance abuse stuff. So we're going to see that in the breakouts that we have with our individual wings and squadrons. But I wanted to gather everybody here today just to talk a little bit and quickly about exactly where we stand with some of the stuff that we've talked about for the past year. It was just about a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, when I stood up in front of all of you and we talked about our strategic vision for the wing. Where are we going to take the wing? What's our 1 year, our 3 year, and our 5 year plan for the wing? One of those big ticket items that we talked about was completing the conversion from the C5 to the C-17 weapon system and becoming the greatest C-17 unit in the world. So today we'll talk a little bit about a progress report, an update. So exactly how are we doing with our conversion from the C5 to the C-17? And I can stand up here today and tell you that we're roughly 75% of the way down our timeline to completing the conversion, with an end of conversion being 30 December of 2013. So we've got about 6 or 7 months left, and so far we've got about 85% of our people, our aircrew, our maintainers, and our support personnel who are trained and ready to go in the C-17 mission set. Not only trained and ready to go, but in fact have been in the fight in the overseas contingency operations for well over a year now. So we're in the fight. So we're doing great with that conversion. At the same time, we're about halfway down the conversion in the Security Forces Squadron, who are completing their conversion from the Security Forces Squadron of 75 to the Base Defense Group mission set of 290 people. They're going to complete their conversion in August of 14. So we're about halfway there, and we're about 150 to 160 people into that conversion to 290. And our 105th Medical Group is in the process of converting to the Homeland Response Force mission set and the Domestic Operations mission set, which they're completing. So we're well on the path towards completing our conversions and all the conversion initiatives that we have across the wing. So the progress report looks like this. We're doing good. We're doing very good. So close enough, right? Well, not hardly. Because we've got this little moniker hanging out there that we hung on this thing a year ago that said that we were going to be the greatest C-17 wing in the world. So the question becomes for us today, what does that mean? How do we become the greatest C-17 unit in the world? How do we complete that conversion? How do we move from good to great? And I don't think there's any doubt that we're good. We're very good. We've already got people across the enterprise, and the C-17 enterprise, who are coming to us and asking us how to maintain and support and operate the C-17. And we've only been doing it for a little more than 18 months. So we're very good. But we're not great yet. And we're not great almost by definition, because we're still in conversion. We're very young in this mission set. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to strive to be great, because that's where we're going. So if we're going to be great, I think the first thing we have to do is identify what does it mean to be great. What does great look like? What kind of characteristics and behavior does great mean? I think if we're going to identify that and define it, then we have to go to some of those organizations that are out there that are routinely acknowledged as being great organizations. What characteristics do they have? What behaviors do they model that makes them great? And then we'll figure out if we've got those characteristics and if we model those behaviors. And if we do, then we'll amplify those characteristics. And if we don't, then we'll acquire those characteristics because we're going to be great. And you can identify some of the characteristics of what makes a great organization. I think for the most part, we can agree that great organizations all have some type of a brand, an identity, something that they define, that they hold as part of their person, that they vigorously defend, something that's part of them. And they don't allow anybody, internal or external to the organization, to tarnish that image, to discredit the organization. And if somebody, some entity or somebody comes forward with a challenge or an opportunity area, then if it's warranted, then we take a look at it and we find out what we're doing wrong or how we can do it better, and we grab that behavior and we make it part of our own. If it's not warranted, then we vigorously defend ourselves and we vigorously defend our brand. Because that's what you do when you have a great organization. Great organizations also have, almost every one of them have some type of a mission that is bigger and better and faster and more than themselves. It's a mission set where they take great pride in. Great organizations also have leaders who have a strategic vision, someplace that those leaders want to take the unit or the organization that is off to the right, down the road, and that vision is bigger, better, faster, higher, and stronger than where we are today. So somehow we have to have a vision for getting us down that road. And typically, great organizations have a set of core values that guide their decisions as they move down the road. Great organizations have people within the organization who have the courage to act on and do what's necessary to make that transition, to move the organization forward. And great organizations have fantastic mid-level managers and leadership who understand the goals of the organization, the roles and the missions, and they advocate for those goals. They have a voice in forming those goals. They endorse those goals, and then they mentor people along the way towards completion of those goals. And great organizations have great entry-level and junior-level workers who understand their role in the organization and their value that they bring to the enterprise. And somehow, some way, everybody in that organization feels like they have a voice in forming the direction that the organization is going. Some way of moving the needle. And everybody in the organization embraces the concept of continuous process improvement. Every single day trying to find a way to do it better. It should come as no surprise that great organizations do the big ticket items well. The core competency stuff is done very, very well. The things that we're good at. But here's a discriminator. Great organizations also do the little things well. The attention to detail things. They do things like answer the phone on the first or the second ring. They do things like respond to email and correspondence quickly and promptly. They do things like have impeccable paperwork. They do things like maintaining their grounds and their facilities impeccably. And they maintain their personal relationships and their professional relationships in a way that's also impeccable. Great organizations value and embrace diversity. And not just diversity for diversity's sake, but diversity in demographics, in thought, in action, and in philosophy. And the reason is simple. It's because great organizations understand that nobody has a monopoly on great ideas. And lastly, and this was kind of a big one, great organizations foster an environment of respect. Respect across the enterprise. Respect for things like the brand, because we have such pride in the brand. Respect for things like respect for the institution, its rules and its regulations, its mission set, its traditions, and its legacy. Great organizations also respect the facilities and the equipment. Great organizations have people who drive the company car like they're driving their own car, and who operate the company computer like they bought the software and like they bought the hardware. Great organizations have people who basically respect their shareholders, respect their taxpayers, Respect the people who own the company. And in our particular case, our shareholders and our owners are the taxpayers. And great organizations respect everybody within the organization, up and down the chain of command. There's a fundamental understanding of the dignity that every single person in this organization has. And we do not harbor things like harassment or intimidation or assault or hazing. We will not harbor those things. There's no place for it in the military. And that extends to the relationships that we have with one another, the way we talk to one another, the way we deal with one another. That goes from the way we talk with our words, our actions, our language, our body language, our tone, and our inflection, to our electronic correspondence, our emails, our texts, our Facebook posts, our Twitter feeds, our smoke signals. Whatever it is, whatever way you communicate back and forth with one another is done under the environment of respect. It should be no surprise to anybody in the military that we have a way of doing this. We've been taught this from the first day that we entered into basic training. There's a code of conduct, a code of behavior, a standard of discipline, customs and courtesies and protocols. So we all know how to act, and we're going to enforce it. We're going to make sure that everybody around us knows how to act. It should also be no surprise to anybody that if somebody doesn't model that behavior, that we'll hold them accountable. Because that's what great organizations do. And we're going to be a great organization. And we will not disappoint in that particular area. It's a privilege to work here at the 105th, not an entitlement. These are fantastic jobs with a great mission set and great people and great facilities. And we're going to make sure that we continue down that path to greatness. We will not disappoint in that particular area. So we're going to vigorously uphold the respect clause that's inherent in every single one of our contracts. And just as we vigorously uphold that respect clause, we're also going to vigorously pursue validating the performance that all of you people have done that demonstrates that we're going down that path to greatness. And we've spent the better part of the last year doing exactly that, going out and identifying the great things that you're doing and then submitting those behaviors for local, state, and national level awards. And it's a lot of work. And you people have put in all the work, and we've done a great job in the last year being recognized for those things. So far, off the top of my head, I can think of about 8 of them. The 213th Engineering Installation Squadron finished second in the entire Air Force for the Chief of Staff Team Excellence Award. Our Force Support Squadron, the Services Function, finished second in the Disney Award for the best services flight in the entire Air Force. Our security forces have received several accolades, including Tech Sergeant Aisha Toole, who was a finalist for the USL Woman of the Year Award competition in New York State. The security forces, they recently got the Distinguished Mission Plaque for their service over in Afghanistan. In addition to that, they won the Security Forces 455th Expeditionary Security Forces Squadron Large Base Award for the best large base security forces squadron in the entire CENTCOM theater for their performance over in Bagram. Our Logistics Readiness Squadron won the Major General Carter Dedalian Award for the best logistics readiness squadron in the entire Air National Guard. We've got Master Sergeant Peña Rojas, who's going to represent the 105th Airlift Wing, the New York Air National Guard, the New York National Guard, in a worldwide skills competition in South Africa with 9 other people from across the New York National Guard. And we've got Master Sergeant Mike Gingulis, who was awarded the Chief Master Sergeant Red Award for the best aerospace maintainer in the entire Air National Guard. And lastly, just recently it was announced that the 105th Airlift Wing has won the Rusty Metcalf Award for the best airlift or air refueling wing in the entire Air National Guard. And we won that award after only 18 to 20 months of flying the C-17 while we're still in conversion. Yet we've been identified as the best C-17 unit in the Air National Guard, the best airlift wing in the Air National Guard. That, folks, is what we're committed to doing, is recognizing and validating your efforts as we make our transition from good to great. And I think the validation that we've seen in the last year is marking the fact that we've started down that path. And we're going to continue that conversion from good to great. And in order to continue down that path, we got to make sure that we do things like stay safe this summer, recognize the threats that the 101 critical days of summer identify, and we're already into it, from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Making sure that we understand our roles and responsibilities as wingmen to take care of one another. Making sure that we recognize our responsibilities and that we don't abuse substances. So today we're going to break out, we're going to go to our squadrons, we're going to spend a half a day looking at those things and making sure that we're continuing down that path. Thank you for everything that you do. It's a real pleasure to stand up here and watch us start that transition from good to great. We're well down our path. Thank you for doing that. Good luck today. Let's have a good transition this morning, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the drill. Dr. Fuentes. Okay, thank you, everybody.